that's false? Hey, welcome back to Great Scott Gaming. I was reading some news when I ran across that games this next console generation are reported to potentially cost over $70 at initial release. Also, I've seen companies like Activision and 2K Games recently announce that their upcoming titles, Call of Duty Cold War and NBA 2K21, will cost that much on all next-gen hardware, so this might be more reality than rumor. That to me makes no sense. You're telling me that the companies leading this trend are the AAA developers that make billions in revenue per year on loot boxes and microtransactions? The same companies that pay their CEOs millions of dollars a year while their bottom line barely scrapes by? The same companies whose games arguably push the boundaries of how to squeeze the most money out of their audience? Okay. But let's take a step back. Look at the industry as a whole, the history of consoles and gaming prices, and why they're trying to increase the maximum price of games from $60 to $70 next console generation. Back when consoles and video games were just hitting the market, they were surprisingly expensive if you compare them to today's dollar. According to Robert Grosser from TechRaptor, the Atari when it was released in 1977 cost $200 to purchase at the time, and would be over $800 today if accounted for inflation. And the games themselves? Well, the average was around $40 per game, and with today's inflation would cost around $170 each. Okay, wow. I cannot imagine paying $170 for that. But moving on, about 10 years in the future, looking specifically at the Nintendo Entertainment System, it is similar to the Atari where the consoles and games would cost more now, even though they are technically cheaper if purchased at their original price with today's dollar. Decade by decade, and console by console, you see the same thing happening where it costs a lot more now than our current generation of consoles and games. To me, this looks like my argument isn't holding up, as games and consoles are technically cheaper now, while the quality has been going up, right? Also with this quality, budgets for games have gone up and gaming companies understandably would need bigger budgets to produce these games, correct? Well, yes and no. I can get behind paying $70 for games like The Witcher 3 or Doom Eternal, which are both games that offer a ton of value and are polished with care. For the most part.
Bruh.
Also, CD Projekt Red and id Software did not have any microtransactions in these games to supplement the price of the original purchase of the game. However, I cannot get behind companies like Activision, EA, or 2K Games who are bringing in billions of dollars per year due to their monetization practices in their most popular games. I mean, 2K Games just recently spent over $1 billion to retain the license to produce NBA games for 7 years. And do you know how long it took them to make it back? Less than a year. On top of that, they turned 2K20 basically into a casino with all the extra microtransactions they've been putting in it. And if we were talking about quality, EA's legit been releasing the same Madden for the last 3 years, except just with an updated roster. So why are these companies who aren't putting out new, quality games every year, while making billions of dollars at the same time, the first ones to push this $70 narrative?
Rich, bitch!
Yep, that's right, they're greedy. In addition, the cost to develop a video game has truly gone up over the last couple decades. However, a ton of money by these companies goes into marketing that is sometimes 2 to 3 times the amount it costs to actually develop the game. Don't get me wrong, I understand that the video game industry is huge nowadays, and there are billion-dollar corporations that have the budget to do this, but why are these same companies who invested into creating systems in their games for microtransactions and loot boxes now asking us consumers to pay even more? Again, greed. Lastly, it is unfortunately not just video game development companies, but now also Sony confirmed at the recent PS5 showcase that there will be a widespread $10 increase in PlayStation 5 game prices, from the current $60 to $70. As I mentioned before, I don't mind paying more for great experiences, but even the argument falls apart as God of War was valued at between $60 to $100 million in development costs, not including marketing, but brought in over $131 million in its opening month. So as of right now, that is why I think paying $70 for each next-gen release is a bad idea. I think that the companies advocating this should be more transparent with why this increase needs to happen, and as consumers, I think we should vote with our wallets and not just let these companies take even more from us. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do you guys think paying $70 for a video game is a bad idea? Or do you think it will help the industry as a whole, despite some companies taking advantage of it? Let me know in the comments below. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell button, and even share the video if you feel like I've earned it. See you all in the next video. Peace.